Hi, boys and girls. It's time for today's interactive read aloud. And today we're going to be reading the folktale Stone Soup. This book was retold by Heather Forrest. It was illustrated by Susan Gaber. The illustrator is the person who draws or creates the pictures. Take a look at the front cover. What do we think this story might be about? It is about a man, and it is about stone soup. So we're going to read to find out what stone soup is all about, because that does not sound very good to me. Stone soup. There once was a comfortable little village nestled in the mountains. The people who lived there had more than enough to keep themselves content. That means happy. One day, two travelers came along. Their coats were tattered. Their hats were torn. Their dusty shoes had holes in their soles. Hungry and tired, one traveler said to the other, "Surely someone here can spare a bit of food." Okay, friends, so we heard some words you may not use in your vocabulary. We heard the words tattered, and we said that travelers came along. So travelers are people who travel, go from city to city. And if their clothes were tattered and torn, what do you think that means? Means they're ripped up. So they are walking around because they're hungry and tired and they're looking for some food. They knocked boldly on a door. It creaked open and a woman asked, "What do you want?" "Please," said one of the travelers, "we are hungry. Do you care? Will you share? Do you have any food?" The woman squinted her eyes and tartly replied, "No." She quickly slammed the door shut. The travelers walked a little further down the road and knocked on another door. A young boy answered. His chocolate brown eyes were sweet. "Good day," he said shyly. "What do you want?" "Please," said one of the travelers, "we are hungry. Do you care? Will you share? Do you have any food?" The boy replied, "There is no food here," and closed the door. The travelers wandered warily through the village, knocking on every door, but everywhere they heard, "I don't care, I won't share, there is no food." They sat to rest beside a well. One traveler sighed and clutched his empty belly. He said, "If there is really no food in this elegant little village, then the people who live here are in greater need than we are. We should make them our magical soup." The two travelers climbed up on the edge of the well and shouted, "We are master cooks. If anyone in this town has a big black pot, we will make the most delicious soup anyone has ever tasted." A door slowly opened. A round man emerged carrying a gigantic black pot. "I love to eat," he said. "Here's a pot. Let me see what two master cooks can do with it." "Watch and see," said one traveler with glee. So let's pause, boys and girls. Do you think all the people in the village really do not have food to share? Okay, let's read and find out more. The travelers filled the pot with cold water and built a fire. Soon the flames licked the sides of the pot and billows of steam rose into the air. Curious people began to gather. "What is happening?" the townspeople asked. "We are making an unusual soup," said one of the travelers. "It requires a special magical ingredient. I am certain we will find it in this town." Wonder what the magical ingredient is. All the eyes in the crowd watched as one of the travelers reached down and picked up an ordinary stone. He tossed it into the pot with a splash. "We're making stone soup," he said. "It will be nutritious, delicious, incredible, and edible." So let's stop there a second. What does the word nutritious mean? It means healthy. I know that you know what delicious means. Yep, it's going to taste good. Incredible. It's just another word for like awesome. And edible. Edible means you can eat it. But it would taste better, he paused and sighed, if we only had a carrot. "Well, where would we find a carrot in this town?" the other traveler asked. "We knocked on every door and everywhere we heard, 'I don't care. I won't share. There is no food.'" "Then perhaps we cannot make this delicious soup after all," they both announced with a sad shrug of their shoulders and began to turn away. A child timidly raised her hand and said, "Wait, I might have a small carrot." "Excellent," shouted the travelers. "Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. We're making stone soup." Okay, boys and girls, so far we have the first ingredient in the stone soup was the very special ingredient. Remember what that was? It was a stone. A stone is just a big rock. So then they asked for a carrot. Remember, everyone in the town said they didn't have any food. But the little girl said she would go get a carrot. "This magical soup would taste even better if we had a potato," they added. A deep voice in the back of the crowd called out, "I have a potato." "Wonderful," shouted the travelers. "Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. We're making stone soup." "It would taste better still," they said, "if we had just a few more ingredients." I wonder what kind of ingredients they want. "Perhaps," said one villager, "I could bring a green bean." "Well," said another, "if you are going to bring a green bean, I will bring a kernel of corn." "I shall not be outdone," cried another. "I will bring an egg noodle." One by one, voices announced, "I will bring a slice of celery. I will bring a pinch of pepper. I can bring a sprig of parsley. I might have a tiny turnip." "Well, why are you waiting?" cried the travelers. "Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. We're making stone soup." Everyone in the town ran home to bring one small thing to put in the pot. Food flew through the air and landed with splashes in the growing soup. Soon, the huge pot was full and simmering. A wonderful smell drifted through the air. The smell was so tempting. People brought out bowls, spoons, chairs, and tables. They placed hearty loaves of bread, chunks of cheese, and bowls of fruit on the tablecloths. Everyone came to taste the soup and marveled at the flavor. "It's amazing," said one woman. "These two travelers made such a delicious soup out of a stone." "Out of a stone," said the travelers with a grin, "and a magical ingredient." As the travelers left the town, they said, "If anyone ever wants to make this soup again, just remember the recipe. Bring what you've got, put it in the pot. Every bit counts, from the largest to the least. Together we celebrate a stone soup feast." All right, boys and girls, so let's stop a little and talk about our story. At the beginning, the villagers were alone in their houses. Where were the villagers at the end of the story? They were all outside eating and enjoying being together. The term villagers means the people that live in the village. We know the soup wasn't really magical. What was the real magic that made the soup? Yes, sharing all of the vegetables. That is really what made this soup. And right here on this page, it says, these two travelers, oh goodness, that keeps happening. Okay, let me go back to this page. These two travelers made such a delicious soup out of a stone. Out of a stone, said the travelers with a grin, and a magical ingredient, sharing. So, boys and girls, we learned that sharing works like magic because wonderful things can happen when you share. The villagers all came together at the end of the story, and they helped one another by making a big soup for everyone to enjoy, even the travelers. Sometimes authors use special words to help you paint a picture in your mind. So in our story, right here, do you see how the smoke, the flames, the smoke is going all around? And the story says, soon the flames licked the sides of the pot and billows of steam rose into the air. So, boys and girls, do flames really lick the sides of a pot? No, they don't really lick it. But these words are creating a picture in your mind that tells you that the steam was all over and it was really close to the sides of the big pot. The author wants you to realize the fire is touching the outside of the pot. So we see the flames on the outside of the pot, and we see the steam on the inside coming out. What is the lesson that we learned from this story? Yeah, we learned that sharing is like magic. And sharing and helping others is such an important part of life. Tomorrow, we are going to read a different version of the same story. We're going to read Stone Soup, but the story tomorrow will be written by Marcia Brown, and it is going to be a little different than this story.